Hello everyone. My name is Aklesh Villa and I'm from 8th. Now let's start with my presentation. So yes, it is Coal and Petroleum by Akhilesh Villa. So let's start with fossil fuels. It is a type of fuel that is formed from dead animals/plants, or we can say organisms. So these, when they die, they get decomposed in the microscopic level. And it takes millions of years because they're really, really small at microscopic level. They will get really decomposed to form fuel, which we can use for many purposes. Examples of fossil fuels are coal, oil, natural gas, kerosene, and propane, and then more. Coal is a type of fuel used for heating, electricity, cooking, steam engines, and more. You just now saw that coal is also an example of fossil fuel. So yes. Now, how is coal actually formed? The story of it. So it all started 300 million years ago. So there were dense forests, and due to natural disaster, these dense forests got buried into the soil. Well, how? It's actually really easy. These natural disasters will cause a split in land, and all these fell into the sand and they got buried. Now, then they got decomposed under heat and pressure. And then they form hard black substance that we call as coal. It's that easy. Yes. So there are actually types of coals. So the more time given for coal to process, the better it is. The more carbon it has, the better the coal is. So it starts with peat, the youngest of all. It's not that good. It's probably the worst of all coal types. So after peat, it comes lignite, which is better than peat. And then subbituminous, better than lignite. Bituminous, which is better than subbituminous. And one more thing about bituminous is the common coal that we use around. And then there's one which is better than bituminous, that is anthracite. This is the best of all coal types. So this process is known as carbonization. Yes, and to the next one. So destructive distillation of coal. Well, what is this process? This is actually the process where you separate coal into useful substances like coke, coal tar, and coal gas. So all you need to do is find a heating source, and then you have to basically heat coal under vacuum. So then it will form powdered coal, which is also known as coke. Now this has to be connected to a flask containing water, and then it will form a substance like coal tar. And this mixture is called as ammoniacal liquor. And then it will release a gas known as coal gas. Well, so we basically got three substances: coke, coal tar, and coal gas. What are they used for? Easy. Coke is simply used for fuel and extraction of metals, which is the heating. And then coal tar, which is probably the most important of all, because it is used for a lot of items like dyes, paints, explosives, drugs, perfumes, and fuels. Now, coal gas containing nitrogen and methane and carbon dioxide is basically used for fuel, just like coke. Yes. So now let's head into petroleum. Now we're done with coal. So what is petroleum? So petroleum is a fossil fuel that is formed from dead organic matters, like animals and stuff we talked about. Yes. So it is actually really sticky, dense, and dark in color, like black or green sometimes. It is a crude oil because it's not refined, and when you smell it, it has a really strong odor. It's a really bad odor, as it contains compounds of sulfur. Okay, it is called black gold. Well, think about it. Why black gold? Black because it's black in color sometimes, and then Gold because it's expensive and it's valuable. It's really useful for us. Do you know that the wealth of a country is determined by how much petroleum it has? Yes, that's a part of it too. Now, let's see the story of this petroleum. So we saw that coal forms basically on land. Well, this is complete opposite. It forms in the sea. So when it's kind of the same. So when sea animals die, they get buried by uh, lots of sand. And under increase of temperature and pressure and the absence of oxygen, it will form petroleum and gas. So you can see all sea animals, so decomposing organic remainings. And then now we have drills that will just get this oil and then we can use it. This kind of similar to coal, right? The only difference is coal is on land and then petroleum is in sea. I mean underwater. Okay? So extraction of petroleum. So how do we extract petroleum? So there is basically two rocks. Those are called impervious rocks. So these are really hard. This do not allow liquid to easily flow through it. It is really hard. Okay? So it's actually sandwiched, like really stuck in between two of them. So it's really tight in there. And then in between them there is a rock called reservoir rock. Actually, the petroleum is formed under that, but as water gets in through it, it it will float on top of water because we all know that oil is lighter than water. So when water fills it up, it will float on top of water. Yes. And now on top of the oil, there is a bit of gas. Okay. So when we extract oil, we have to drill through this really hard impervious rock. And then as soon as we drill through it, the gas comes out with a lot of force because it's trapped in there for a lot of time, right? And then we can pump out the oil, which we can use. So the first oil drill took place in Pennsylvania, USA in 1859. Well, that's it. The end. Thank you. Bye.